Welcome to the Green Nurse Podcast, where we bring hope and inspiration for growth and healing. We're here to change the dialogue and stigma around what it means to feel good or be high. Hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. I have an amazing show for you all today. But before we get started, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do in the cannabis space as nurses.
Change the paradigm of healthcare.
The Green Nurse is a holistic cannabis nurse that teaches on the endocannabinoid system and the safe utilization of cannabis and other progressive tools to help people reach a better quality of life.
I'm the founder of Holistic Caring. We're based here in California, and we do educational programs and case management for patients on how to use cannabis therapeutically as a medicine.
We're also here to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high, hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing.
As the founder of Holistic Caring, I basically oversee the whole ship. And what we're doing is progressive education.
Cannabis actually supports all 11 organ systems, our immune system, and all the neurotransmitter signaling systems that give messages to tell our body to either do something or not do something. Because the plant was prohibited, it prevented health professionals, doctors and nurses from learning about cannabis as medicine.
I want to change the paradigm of healthcare and us paving the way into a new vanguard of medicine.
It's about education, it's about empowerment, it's about teaching people how to feel good, bridging the gap from what they're not getting from traditional medicine, utilizing different plant medicines, adaptogens, tips, tricks, hugs, and nugs of information to support and nourish the most important system in our body.
It's a lot of soul work, a lot of love, a lot of discipline, and meditation. I'm using my life work as a testimony to others to learn how they can be their own hero and then go help heal the world.
And we are, as nurses, the game changers.
Well, there you go. Growing in health, growing in cannabis. I am so honored and grateful to be able to bring the Courage in Cannabis authors to life in our special series, honoring the authors of Courage in Cannabis. I'm going to share my screen here to bring up our guest today. I'm going to talk a little bit. Ooh. Let's see. Let's just stop sharing. That's not it. Let's see what happened here. That's shared. Let's see, share. And we're going to talk. I want to pull up the website so you guys can all see and you can go there and you can learn about Courage in Cannabis. It's just so important for you to see the magnificent work that this group of people has done for Courage in Cannabis. So, Courage in Cannabis is a compilation of stories written by doctors, lawyers, patients, caregivers, and entrepreneurs and activists. Each story is unique and written with the hope of inspiring others. In these times, anyone that chooses cannabis or enters into the industry has a story of courage. This is simply true because a very short time ago, cannabis was illegal everywhere in North America. The authors in this book took a leap of faith, and courage when delving into cannabis, this option to save their lives. Some you will find had to go as far as questioning their spiritual faith in the process. The stories in this book are meant to help and motivate others. Ultimately, we believe this book is for you. As you read and delve into the chapters, you will get to know the authors intimately, learning of their struggles, their triumphs, and their perseverance it took to be able to share their story in the pages of this book. The power is in the stories. And so today we get to meet another one of these very inspiring authors who is making it happen in Alabama. So Jennifer Isbell Boozer is a passionate cannabis advocate, activist, educator, and owner of CannaBama and host of Sweet Home CannaBama radio show. In 2018, she made history as the first hemp and CBD retailer in Alabama. Jennifer will be sharing her powerful journey of healing with cannabis as beautifully recounted in her book, Courage of Cannabis, in her chapter. So get ready to be inspired by her remarkable story. Welcome, Jennifer. So happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited. I loved your intro video. I was shaking my head and agreeing and smiling because I love education. I'm not a nurse, but I have studied like one when it comes to cannabis, and the delving into the information and then giving it away for free is, that's my thing. I absolutely love it. So I very much appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and it's a tough space to be in, and I can't even imagine. We're going to dig into Alabama. We're going to talk about the book, but I want our viewers to get to know you, Jennifer,
Sure.
and get to know the passion and your passion, your purpose, your mission, your vision, and all that you've done for Alabama. Because Alabama is a state that we need to talk about it, right?
Right.
What's
No
going
one
on in
talks about
Alabama?
it. We have a hot mess of a medical bill here that was passed in 21. But right now, and probably for the foreseeable future, people like me in the hemp side of the plant are the only thing available to the public. And like I said, the bill's been live for 2.5 years. Our licensing process has been, full of lawsuits and lots of fighting. And we have given licenses, then taken them away, and then given licenses again, and then taken them away. And now they're going back to the drawing board with the approval process. So the patients in Alabama, including, me, who tries to be an educator to the public, and with my radio show, I try to keep the people of Alabama informed because so few people realize we even have a live medical program. And so, we don't really know what's happening. I just did a whole show on it Monday, and there's a big hearing on this coming Monday. So right now we are the only game in Alabama, but we do have high hopes for full legalization one day. But, a lot of people count Alabama out because we are so conservative.
So for the new viewers, what is the state of Alabama right now for medical cannabis?
We have an active bill for a medical program, and they are stuck in the process of issuing licenses and moving it forward. So, there's just a lot of lawsuits and people were awarded licenses that have never set foot in Alabama. There are people who are established and have state-of-the-art facilities that weren't given a license, and there's a whole lot of back and forth. So it's a whole lot to keep up with. But, like I said, hemp is highly available. There are not many people like me who have the depth of information, who specialize in education. That's why I do radio. That's why I do things like the book, because people in Alabama need to be on par with the rest of the country.
Yes, absolutely. So what is your Courage in Cannabis chapter about? What was that all about?
Yeah, my Courage in Cannabis story, and my story even before cannabis, but especially since cannabis became my whole life, is the story of a fighter. I have had to fight for everything my whole life. I lost a son and had to fight for my own life, fight for his life, his rights, and ultimately lost him. I had to fight an opioid addiction that started before even anyone knew what an opioid crisis was. I like to joke around and say that I started that too. But, and then I had to fight to get clean from that. And in the process, being a chronic pain patient all my life, I grew up in this deep, deep South in a Christian home and a very conservative lifestyle. And we were taught in school through the DARE program that, weed is bad. It's a gateway drug. And I was deeply, even though I was technically a drug addict, I still was like, weed, that's drugs. Mine came from a pharmacy. So I was like high class, right?
Yes.
That's what we tell ourselves.
With that. I can totally identify with that feeling. You know what I mean? When someone offered me cannabis as medicine, I was on 18 pharmaceuticals at one point in time.
And you're like, good for that.
Cannabis? How is that going to help me? I'm on the strongest, most potent pharmaceuticals that exist.
Right.
If clinicians understood about the endocannabinoid system.
I know. I say that all the time, that and the church. if the church understood, coming from being raised in church all of my life, if the church understood that half of their congregation is under the influence of something, even if it's just bad pharmaceuticals and a crappy lifestyle hauling a bunch of pills around, and if the church understood what cannabis can do for the people that they are preaching all these things to, they would be our biggest champion. I say that all the time.
Yeah. Is it one particular church or all churches?
All churches. Well, and then there's, for people like me, there's NA and AA and Celebrate Recovery, and the recovery community is not at all open. And what's ironic is so many people in the industry are in recovery.
Well, that's it. Well, this is what I have to say about the recovery thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about recovery, they talk about a way of life,
Right.
And a way of life is different for each person.
Absolutely.
Right. And living your best life is going to look different for each person. So pick your poison.
Right. Well,
right?
behavior modification only has like a 20% success rate. So, maybe.
And the
rethink
other
that.
thing, yeah, I found interesting too, is that only 9% of people that go through these programs actually remain substance free.
Right.
So that's pretty, so you think about that.
Right.
Going through these programs, only 9% remain substance free. And so when we look about cannabis as medicine, it's medicine. It's a pleiotropic. It works on multiple different physiological systems all at the exact same time, and can prevent side effects and can allow people to engage in a healthy lifestyle, mind, body, spirit, the biopsychosocial, spiritual aspects of healing using cannabis as medicine.
Well, and it's funny because partly because of cannabis, next Monday on Halloween is my 9-year clean anniversary. I actually found CBD 3 years into my sobriety, and it changed my life again. And then I opened my business because there was nothing here in Alabama. And this is the continuation of my fight story, is no one had done it. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know what I was doing, but instinctively I knew, I can't explain this to my mother without her thinking I'm going to end up in a gutter with a needle in my arm one day or something, because it's drugs. And there's nowhere that people have to go. There needed to be a place people could go and see and talk to someone, look them in the eyes, get their questions answered, have a basic understanding what it is, what it does, how it works, how to use it. That's my goal. That way you can shop anywhere in the world, because my ultimate motivation is to give people the tools that they need to change their own lives the way I changed mine. And then,
so share your transformational journey. What did that look like? What was your personal story?
Well, so I was 3 years clean and in abject misery. I was on an antidepressant. I was on anxiety meds. I was on a blood pressure pill that I had been taking since I quit the opiates to keep me from getting that don't touch me even 3 years later, like at night. And I was on trazodone to help me sleep. I had insomnia since my son had passed away. And by the time I got clean, that was 14 years. When I tried CBD for the first time, I slept through the night for the first time, like in my pajamas, in my bed, where I was at 11 o'clock the night before. And I remember waking up and it was daylight and thinking, as I was kind of coming to consciousness, am I dead? Because this hasn't happened in so long, I forgot what it was like, and I don't, this is insanity. And, I started taking it for joint pain, but then my plantar fasciitis in my feet that I'd had surgery on and given away all my shit went away, completely went away. PMS symptoms I had for 30 years went away. I had migraines for 25 years. They stopped. And I was just like, holy crap. And that was in month 1.
And this is with just CBD only.
That was full spectrum CBD, RSHO concentrate. Yes. That was my first product. That and a salve were my first products. And, I had to order them online. They were incredibly expensive in 2016, 2017. And no one, like I said, I couldn't explain it to my mom because I was like, well, my mom needs this. And it's so great. I want to tell my mom. I want to tell my grandmother. I want to tell my neighbor. I want to tell my best friend. And everybody looked at me like, what are you doing? So I had to start educating myself so that I could explain it to my mom. Yeah. And when I started learning just this little bit of information, it was like, it was a floodgate for me. I was voracious. And for the 9 months between my first experience and opening the doors of my own store in CannaBama, I studied 10, 12 hours a day some days. My kids were in school. I had been a stay-at-home mom for 17 years. So I haven't had a job since 2001 when dial-up made a really terrible noise and there was no such thing as social media. And I worked part-time in a law firm. I was a music major. I have maybe 48 hours of music credit that are worth zero, but I'm smart. And I taught myself and I started talking to people, watching videos, reading blogs and articles, trying everything I could get my hands on, going to conventions. And I just, that there came this fire in my belly I had never had before. And 6 years in, after taking a beating from COVID, a brutal divorce, now inflation, and then, the uncertainness of the laws, from federal laws to state laws with hemp, with cannabis, with legalization and all that. Now I've had to become a lobbyist so that I can go to the state house and fight for my business and fight for the rights of my customers, because no one's going to do it, not here in Alabama. And so I'm having to learn how to go to the state house and say, excuse me, I'm 5'1" and have pink hair and tattoos, but you should listen to me. But I'm not intimidated easily. So, and I can make friends with a brick wall. So I teach everywhere I go. My kids are like, oh God, Mom, let's go to the car. Mom's talking to a stranger again. But I love what I do.
But that's so beautiful. And then it's also beautiful that you're including your children as well.
Well, my son is my COO now.
There you go.
He was a senior in high school and when he started working for me.
Yeah.
And my daughter's 16. And, I give her CBD for cramps and to help her sleep. And she uses cream. She loves a cooling roll on when she gets a sunburn, and my kids give it to their friends and they tell their teachers about it. I'll never forget when my daughter was 10 and she said, Mom, it was the first day of school. She said, Mom, can you write down the definition of the endocannabinoid system? Because I had a button she wanted to wear on her backpack that said, feed your endogenous cannabinoid system. Mm-hmm. And she just knew her teacher was going to ask her, what does that mean? And she wanted to be able to tell her. And when she came home that afternoon, beaming from here to here, because she was able to tell her teacher what that meant. And so my kids love it. They do.
That's so great. It was really interesting too, the DARE program that you mentioned. I just want to bring up, I started creating education for holistic caring in the Green Nurse and wrote a patient handbook. I remember, I wanted my children to be able to understand it. And so I reviewed it with them. And afterwards I said, so what do you guys think about Mom being a medical marijuana nurse? They go, marijuana and cannabis is the same thing.
Wow.
That's not what they're teaching us in school.
Right.
So the DARE program is grossly outdated.
Right.
A lot of
I know. My daughter just had a drug education class like last year in the 9th grade. And I'm like, did you raise your hand and tell them cannabis is a superfood? It is not a drug. She's like, no, Mom.
It's a nutrition. It's a phytobotanical nutrient that nourishes this most important system in our body. The endocannabinoid system, the largest neurotransmitter signaling system in our body that give messages to all of the other systems.
Yes.
So you formed, so you started your business, CannaBama. Let's talk about CannaBama. What was that like forming that business? And tell us all about it, what you offer, what your services are.
Well, I started in a 200 square foot corner of a hair salon in nowhere, Alabama, because it was free. I had like I said, I hadn't worked. I begged my then husband for $5,000 to let me try to do this. And he did it. He gave me the money. And I just wanted it to be self-sustaining. I would pray every morning on the way to open up, okay, God, just let this be self-sustaining so that I don't have to go back and ask for more money. And I don't care. At the time, like I said, I'd been staying home for 17. I didn't need the money. I just wanted it to be self-sustaining because I wanted so desperately to give people what I had been given. And we had like nuclear explosion growth. I bet I had my first class, what is CBD? while my first shipment of products was on the way to the store. So when it came, the customers already knew what they needed. They had an idea of why, and they were already, they already knew that they could trust me. And from there, I opened up a freestanding brick and mortar 5 months later in downtown Mobile. We were the only store below Birmingham. We were the first store in Alabama, but we were the only store below Birmingham, which is about 4 hours north, for 9 months. And we had customers from Pensacola, Florida to Biloxi, Mississippi coming to shop at CannaBama. And it was insanity. I worked 7 days a week all by myself. I hired my first employee about 9 months in. And, it's just been this insanely fun, terrifying, and incredibly fulfilling roller coaster ever since. We've had, I've had people try to buy me out. I've had people try to undermine me. I have fought tooth and nail for marketing and advertising to have events and get other people involved, because no one wants to be affiliated with cannabis. And now we do the biggest 420 event in Alabama. I've been doing my radio show. My radio show is crazy because it's in Mobile, Alabama. And that I know of, there's not another FM talk show about cannabis anywhere. There was another one that I knew of out of Missouri, but it got canceled about 6 weeks ago.
So how did you get started doing cannabis focused FM talk radio show on the Gulf Coast? Because,
the station,
a hot topic, and specifically in the South. How did you get online? That's just that's phenomenal.
The station actually interviewed a doctor here whose son is a grower in Colorado and who makes a product line. And people were very curious. It was 2019. So I had been open for almost a year. And they did a show and talked about CBD. And it was so wildly popular that they had an open slot on Monday night at 7 between the car show and the sports show. And they came to me and said, hey, we got a great response. We would love to have a weekly show, and we would like it to be you. We know your reputation. And so I was like, well, I've never done that before, but I'm an adventurer and a risk taker. So let's go. I'm a doer. And there was an old guy that had been on radio forever. He showed me the ropes first 2-3 weeks. And then it was off to the races. I've been doing it for 4 years now. And then it doubles as a podcast. So you can find it on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Google.
Just only, right? Just listening only.
Right. Yes. Just listening only. Yes. I would actually love to. I've done several interviews on this platform, and I'm trying to get a team together to help me sort of upgrade and do video as well, because it does get such a great response.
Yeah, it's lovely. And you can, the part that's nice is you can do the video and the audio that captures it.
Yes. Yes. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's just so amazing. So tell me about some of your podcasting episodes. What was some of your fun ones that you've had on?
Oh, well, we talk about everything. We talk about the plant, everything from what is cannabis, what is the endocannabinoid system, methods of consumption, bioavailability, all those good things, chemistry, farming, but we also talk about social justice. We talk about, yes, we do. We've had several organizations on, and because we've had some crazy arrests, even one of my staff most recently, with completely federally legal products, because the law enforcement in the area he was arrested is completely uninformed. The police here in Mobile love us. They know us. They've even told us that when they pull someone over or stop someone and they have CannaBama packaging, they do not arrest them. They don't question it, because they know, we have integrity. And and that's a really good feeling, to know that the law enforcement directly in charge of your own protection too, my store's protection. We've been robbed before, and they've come in and been wonderful. And it's funny because most people don't understand that most cops don't have a problem with cannabis. Even in Alabama, below the Bible Belt is what I say, below the Bible Belt. We're not just the Bible Belt. It's down low. We're at the very bottom. And it is deeply conservative. But I think that what I'm doing, what some of my colleagues are doing in other cities, the radio show, I really do think and hope that we're making somewhat of an impact on the level of education. In my opinion, legalization will never be fully realized until it's normal. And it'll never be normal until people have a good understanding of what it is and what it isn't. And
Yeah.
that's what drives me.
So how do you handle the stigma?
Well, it depends on the scenario, the situation. When I come across people that are, you meet these people and they're you're never going to get through to them. I have learned not to be bothered by that and just go, okay, and walk away.
Remain
Go back to your
unbothered.
prescriptions and I'll go back to my pot shop. But I find that more people are open-minded than you would think, especially in a place like this.
Yeah.
So I just try to always lead with education. I don't, I tell people all the time, you don't have to pander to stoners. Stoners will shop out of your trunk in a parking lot. They don't care. It's the soccer moms like me. I'm a 45-year-old single mom, with 2 kids and 2 dogs and, raised in the church. I am my ideal customer. But my largest demographic is Black males from 25 to 55, but they're businessmen, they own their own businesses. I've had even the mayor, I've had local law enforcement from the city police to the sheriffs to the fire department. We have nurses that shop with us and doctors. And that's because of the way we do things. And my shop is not a typical a vape shop, head shop, smoke shop. It's very, it's styled and furnished to make
Like a hemp boutique? Would you call it like a boutique?
Yes, you could sell high-end handbags, shoes, or bougie coffee, and you wouldn't have to change the atmosphere. So it's beautiful, and when you walk in, it still smells like weed. But it's people know that we take what we do seriously.
Yeah. So tell us about your products at CannaBama and what else you offer at CannaBama.
Well, we have, as far as I know, we probably have more SKUs, individual items, products than anybody else in the state. That's because I do my research and I've got a lot of criticism. How can you carry 40 brands and know anything about your products? Because I read and I'm smart. It's not that hard.
Do you carry other people's brands?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just now, okay, because my customers know I don't grow. I'm not out there with a shovel in the dirt. No one wants that. Okay. I don't like when grass touches my ankles. But and I don't process, but I have seen all the products. We were sort of the highway into the Southeast. No one was doing a whole lot. And so when people heard there was an active, popular shop in Alabama, it just boom, boom, boom. I still get stuff every day. So I started seeing the holes in the market, seeing how things could be improved, what products needed improvement, what products that everybody was doing. Everybody has a tincture, a gummy, or a topical, and I don't need to reinvent the wheel. My products that I am just now starting to create are better versions of what I've been able to get, and based on what my customers tell me. I have a gummy line now. I have 6 blends and potencies of CBD only, or CBD CBG, or CBD CBN. And those are for my people who drug test. They're for kids. They're for people who need something during the day that won't impair them. And then I have a six different blends in the THC side, different blends of D8, D9, THCO, HHC, things like that, specifically for sleep or pain. And then we have a growing pre-roll line that we are developing right now. And then I would love to, eventually have more products. My product line, the CannaBama logo on that bottle doesn't mean I grew it. It means this is my stamp of approval. This is the best thing I could find for you. And it's so good that I'm willing to stake my reputation on it. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's all I have is my name and my reputation. And it has been a wonderful experiment. My customers are very happy. And like I said, we were able to tweak better flavors, better blends, better potencies based on what everybody else was doing and how they were sort of missing the mark, in my opinion. So yeah, it's more of a procured line than me going out and growing my own products.
Right.
And
So you're carrying other companies' products in your shop?
yes, and I have
And you put your
lots
stamp.
of national brands that have good reputations. Which I have a process that I go through. On paper, show me what it is, what it does, how it works, how to use it. Send me a sample. Let me personally try it.
Mhm.
I'm going to try everything in our store has been personally used by everyone on the staff.
Yep.
And that's really, at the end of the day, the only way to know is to try it yourself. And we have a bar that we measure things by. And then does the price make sense?
Right.
For my customers in my area, the cost of, the average income in Alabama is far lower than a lot of states.
Right.
And the poverty line would probably make people in California and Colorado cry.
Yeah.
Because, and lately with inflation after COVID and the cost of living going up exponentially, I've had to really be creative in trying not to raise my prices and still keep it as accessible and affordable as possible to everyone. Our motto, my business motto is our demographic is human, because we all have an endocannabinoid system. Even our pets, we have a whole pet line.
Mhm.
And we do everything from, tinctures and concentrates and gummies. We do smokable flower. Thank God, as many times as they've tried to ban it, smokable flower is available.
That's good.
And everything, bath bombs and skincare and all that good stuff. Anything you can think of, take and bake brownie mix. We have it.
Yeah. So you're a brick and mortar shop, and do you
Yes.
sell online as well, or no?
I do. Right now, my website is being rebuilt. We were having so many problems with, between merchant services, which I don't even want to talk about banking. We all know that's a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
And it was allowing my customers to order things that were out of stock, and it was becoming an issue, and we just had to scrap the whole thing. So we're working on a brand new website, and that's CannaBama.com.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
And I want to also put your link to your radio show as well underneath, so I'll get that from you after.
Yes. And
So-
on social media, we have a Sweet Home CannaBama page.
Oh, good. We'll have to share
and-
that as well. I'll have to put
And
that.
we are still on Instagram. Facebook has lovingly deleted my entire business page after 5 years of content. For an ad they said I posted that was actually a 3-year-old Black Friday ad. So I'm not really sure. This goes back to me having to fight for everything. I no
Yeah.
longer have a business page on for CannaBama until we can figure out how to do it without getting kicked off. But I am personally on social media too.
Okay. All right. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Well, today's show, I got to do a little plug from our
Of course.
sponsor, because what would it be without a sponsor helping us to make this all happen?
Right.
So today's show is being sponsored by Bloom Hemp. Bloom Hemp is a woman and nurse-owned national CBD hemp supplier leading with quality, safety, value, and patient-centered care. Bloom Hemp products are USDA organic CBD grown in the mountains of Colorado and tested for purity, potency, and cannabinoid profiles. Green Nurse approved stamp of approval. So Bloom Hemp is proud to offer a free nurse line. 970-404-HOPE. We have pharmacists and nurses on board, as well as offering a free care plan. So what makes Bloom Hemp just a little bit different is that it is nurse run, and nurses are answering the phone, pharmacists are answering the phone, providing customer service and offering free written care plans. Bloom Hemp for the win, and enjoy 10% off Bloom Hemp with Green Nurse for 10% off and free shipping and a free care plan. So
Nice.
that is Bloom Hemp. Yeah. So
Care plan. That's really nice. I
yeah,
had not seen that before.
yeah. You know what? I'm gonna plug it just because it's nurses are, I'm not sure if you know this, but nurses, cannabis nursing has now been approved as a specialty, meaning that
Nice.
eventually, so the American Nurses Association, which represents 5 million nurses in the United States, worked with the American Cannabis Nurses Association to recognize cannabis as a subspecialty. So nurses are now going to be able to, at some point in time in the future, take an exam to get board certified. And so, yeah, which is really important, really, really important, because we need to get this into the conventional system.
I agree.
Cannabis is medicine. Your story, my story. This is how I started too. I was a patient on the other side of the bed, sick, suffering, almost died, 18 pharmaceuticals.
Oh yeah.
It was a retired nurse that came to my house with a joint and told me to get with the program. She was 65 years old. She had just retired, came to my house, gave me a joint and said, Sherri, get with the program. Cannabis has been legal in Massachusetts since 2012, and it's now 2014.
Wow.
Yep. And she disclosed to me that her father carried cannabis as medicine in his pharmacy way back when.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So basically, and that's the thing. We nurses aren't taught this. It's not taught in medical school. It's not taught in nursing school. But just because it's not taught doesn't mean that it's not real.
Well,
so
it's not new.
And you're having to unpack the reefer madness and really kind of unpack what happened
Right.
in history. The paper industry, the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the tobacco industry, and the alcohol industry is what put a prohibition on cannabis as medicine.
Absolutely. Well, I teach that all the time. People are always shocked when they hear all the different pieces that came together to create the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937 and how the AMA had no idea what marijuana was because what they had been using was cannabis, and how a simple, racial slur nickname for something can totally ruin the whole industry. And it's fascinating.
Yeah, it truly is fascinating. You are doing absolute amazing work.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have had you on the podcast. I'd love to have you back on again.
Anytime.
Once CannaBama is live, I'd love to have you on again, because we have a lot of patients in Alabama as well that could use your services.
Absolutely.
So we'll have you come back on again, and we want to share CannaBama with the world for sure.
Absolutely. Anytime. I'm happy to do it.
Yes. And so as soon as Jennifer's site is live again, we'll be sure to share that with all of our viewers. Before we end this segment, I just wanted to ask if you had anything else to share with people. Actually, my question to you is, what would you, for someone that's in Alabama that's scared and that's never, that is interested and curious, what would you give them? What advice would you give them to start exploring?
Well, I would say give me a call, and you can find us, on Google. You can find our phone number, our website. You could probably find my personal phone number, which I do give out to everybody that comes through. Give us a call, really think about your questions, your fears, and then come and talk to us. Be open-minded. And, we give free hugs. We give gummy samples. We're never going to pressure you. We want you to be able to take the right information and then a corresponding product or two and turn around and change your own life, because it is 100% possible. I am a living testimony to that. My children are. So many of the thousands of people in the Mobile area and around the state of Alabama. My home state of Louisiana, I ship a lot there. I have customers in Texas and Arkansas, Mississippi, and I've helped a lot of other retailers. So, we love what we do, and we put the customer first. So come and get that free information and let us see what we can do, and if it's not for you, it's not for you, but it won't be scary, and we will talk. I've talked to somebody for 4 hours before. Yep. And when you feel comfortable, that's when we'll stop and go, okay, let's get a product. And until then, we'll just be friends. I'm easy.
Yep. And I'd love to invite you, Jennifer, into our free network.
Okay.
Holistic Caring, network.holisticcaring.com. I'm going to send you, and you can bring in your Alabama friends. We offer a free intro to cannabis course. We have a free monthly support group on all plant medicines, including psychedelics. We had an amazing one today that was an hour and a half long, teaching about integration. And integration is about supporting and nourishing the endocannabinoid system. We're in periods where there is a lot of trauma that's happening in the world today, right?
Absolutely.
How do we take care of our mind, our body, and our spirits? And so we have a space that is off of social media, that is run by nurses and our pharmacist, that's offering free education. All of the podcasts are listed there, free intro to cannabis course, patient portal, support group every month. So we would love to invite you there, and you can invite your customers as well. And we'd be happy to have you advertise on our platform.
I would encourage anyone, I tell people all the time, just like the Bible. You gotta learn this stuff for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take her word for it. Go and get an intro to cannabis class. Go and do the reading. You will never ever regret it.
No, and never ever regret it. And the other thing we offer as well too is a free 7-page medical guide right on our website at holisticcaring.com. Free guide. You can just download it. And it's a beautiful 7-page PDF that really goes over everything. So everyone is welcome to this. Education is empowering, right? And that's the future of healthcare, is patient empowerment. So grateful to have had you on the show today, Jennifer. And remember, everybody, what it's all about. It is truly all about living your best life and helping others do the same. I'm going to end with one of my other favorite videos that I did when I merged holistic caring into the green nurse, or the green nurse into holistic caring. Here we go. It's another favorite.
We're here to educate and empower patients to make choices that are best for them. We're also here to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high. Hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. The Green Nurse is a holistic cannabis nurse that teaches on the endocannabinoid system and the safe utilization of cannabis and other progressive tools to help people reach a better quality of life.
I was cannabis agnostic for many, many years. And you know, the more research I did, the more I discovered that cannabis is this amazing medicine.
I was told that I had a 4-stage pancreatic cancer. The doctor really told me he couldn't do anything else. He gave me her name and she called me and she came to my house. She started to give me cannabis. My oncologist was puzzled because he couldn't find the cancer anymore.
All of the learning that we get comes from the Green Nurses Group, comes from their support, comes from their guidance. I trust everything that she says.
Simply meet people where they're at. The plant doesn't, stress to grow, so we don't stress to share it. We're healing people.
Cannabis has been used as a medicine for tens upon thousands of years. Here's the big message. Cannabis needs to be federally legal. We need to have laws that are the same across all 50 states that allow access to anyone and everyone who wants to utilize this powerful medicine.